In this episode,
30 podcasts in 30 days.
The Fantasy Football Show.
hello listeners, welcome back to Planet FPL. My name's Serge.
My name's James.
This is episode 1 of our 30 in 30. I think we're going to just stop counting what episode it is or isn't and just say we're back with Planet FPL.
Might be a good idea, mate.
We are, yes. So we're pre-recording some of these 30 in 30, but most people are going to be wondering what the hell is our 30 in 30. Do you want to explain a little bit about what we did?
Yeah, so we came up with this mad idea that we're going to do 30 podcasts in 30 days.
Yep.
Just for the crack, just to give man-child some work. As Sis said, a lot of these are going to be kind of pre-recorded sort of before they go out, either 48 hours, some of them up to a week earlier to make sure we get them all out and on time. We are having every one of our correspondents come on.
Including the new ones for the new promoted clubs who many of the community won't have heard much from so far. Correct. Including the new correspondents for existing clubs that are coming in.
Correct. We'll come back to that.
Awesome.
So having all of them on, so that, and we're going to have one or two guests on as well. Like our first episode going out tomorrow is with Paul at Sky Player and FPL. We've done a little bit of a comparison between the Sky game and the FPL game, something a little bit different. Paul's great. You'll enjoy that tomorrow. And we're going to do a couple of sort of individual ones around, obviously the fixtures come out on June the 13th. So we'll have something out around that afterwards. There's a Champions League final today, I guess.
Indeed.
And we're going to do some stuff around that as well. So yeah, 30 podcasts, 30 days, all going to kind of be around about half hour to 40 minutes long.
Yeah, I think for the listeners who listen regularly to our 90 minutes, these are all going to be much shorter, primarily because who's got an hour and a half each day to record a podcast? It's not you and me, I tell you that. So they are shorter, and also by speaking to each of the correspondents individually, it's club by club.
Yeah.
So you get a half an hour to 45-minute dose of each club rather than a broad spectrum. And whilst people are planning and what have you, it's quite interesting and getting to know different FPL players and their kind of ideas and tactics and what their thoughts are on their specific club that they watch week in, week out. It's going to be really interesting. I mean, we've already recorded 3 or 4, and we're learning new stuff all the time.
Definitely.
About the clubs and the game and just people's mindset and mentality. And I feel like a kid who's just kind of been a kid in a sweet shop with just being able to ask people all these different questions.
Well, it's new for us.
Look, we're 135 episodes in. We've had one guest, and that was like episode 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So early that it was so long ago. I don't even remember that episode.
It was just your mate.
Exactly. He happened to be in the office, so we said, let's record. But that was so long, and we haven't had any guests. And now that we've got guests on, it's really interesting to talk to other people and get their opinion involved in the game as well.
A different dynamic for us.
For sure.
It's really difficult with the way me and Serge effing blind at each other to have other people come in the middle of it.
Yeah, I feel we're much more civilised and polite on these.
We have to be, yeah. So look, if it goes well and the feedback's positive, then you never know, maybe spin-offs during next season,
more,
maybe, yeah.
For sure. You know what we're doing, don't you, James?
We're recording at a stupid time.
Nah, just in general. This is called. We're basically degenerate drug dealers.
Crack addicts,
FPL is an addiction for people, and everybody was about to take 2 months of detox to come off FPL, and we're the gits in the corner that are like, nah, it's all right. You can have another hit of FPL.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing.
We've just shot to bum and gone, oh, here you go. There's about another 18 hours of content for the next month.
What I'm hoping is people just keep coming back and want more of what we've got to offer.
We should talk briefly about the live show.
Nobody should phone the police on us. We're not really selling crack and drugs.
I don't think anybody thinks we were. I mean, what kind of person would be part of a live FPL podcast and smoke dope and have crack? Nobody would.
Tell me about the live show then. You mentioned it. We did it. We put it live.
He's trying to put words in my mouth, man-child.
Man-child, the producers in the house. Tell everybody about the live show. We did it. We did the live show. Do you know what I was thinking yesterday about the live show? There were more people at the live show
We're in
2 weeks ago.
Azerbaijan.
Maybe not the number of Azerbaijan. There were more people in the live show than listened to episode 1 of our podcast 2 years ago.
I think about episode
Can you
20,
believe
I
it?
think, probably.
So, we managed to get Planet FPL Live 1 off the ground, and what a great afternoon and day it was.
Yeah, it was top job.
At the editor's tap. It was so good, in fact, that Planet FPL Live 2 is going to be on the cards as soon as we can figure out the dates and logistics. But yeah, really, really good. And as good as the live show was in terms of getting the audio technical working and that, the second half of the show, getting the guests on, was a good laugh. But then once that was all done and dusted, just hanging around for 3-4 hours having beers with the community was a real good laugh.
I didn't watch any of the FA Cup final, basically. I mean, I've seen bits of highlights back. Was A, pissed by that point.
Yeah.
And B, was just chatting to people. So I didn't really get a chance to watch the game at all.
Yeah.
In spite of my in-depth analysis of how Watford could stop Man City. That went well, didn't it?
Yeah, that was a bit of an embarrassment.
Well, I don't even know how Watford set up, so I can't feedback on it. I haven't got a clue.
No, but people travelled from far and wide. Dan came down from Liverpool, Loco Lord. The boys that travelled down from Ipswich, Wayne and Co. And everyone was
Neil
just in good
from
spirits.
Denmark,
Copenhagen. So the video from the live show's on YouTube now. Part 2 will be going live by tomorrow, which is yesterday. This is confusing.
Yeah, a little bit.
But part 2 will be live as well. But all the audio is live on wherever you listen to our podcast, whether it be Stitcher or SoundCloud or Apple, mainly Apple, Spotify, wherever it may be. So do have a listen. Slightly different listening to a live show. Because whilst it was designed to be a podcast, it was actually for the live audience as well. But yeah, that was a really good day, and I can't wait for round 2.
I think the feedback is we're doing it again, aren't we?
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
And soon.
Without a doubt. It'll be ideally first day of the season or a week before the season starts is kind of the thoughts at the moment.
Essentially, once the fixtures and the TV games are announced, because everyone knows I ain't missing spares,
yeah,
then we're going to see what we can come up with. And
shit, you
August
just
is penciled in.
Fuck.
What's the matter?
I've got till tomorrow to renew my West Ham season ticket.
What's
And if
that
I
about?
don't, then I'm going to fucking lose it.
That's about 200 quid, isn't it?
Yeah, for the kids. Mine's only 650.
650.
Yeah.
I'm paying more than that to fly to Madrid, you dick.
Yeah. Not my problem. I'd take that. I'd pay the money to go to Madrid if my team were in the Champions League final. So yeah, live show was really good laughs. Thank you to everybody that came, supported it, and enjoyed the day. We'll be doing it again in August, touch wood, but we'll know that in probably about 3 weeks' time.
I'd say by
June
the end
13th?
of 30 and 30, hopefully on the 30th episode, we might be able to announce something maybe.
Wicked. Yeah. Yes. What else has been happening? Let's talk about Europa League, shall we? Because it was fresh in our minds from last night.
I take it you watched the game.
I did.
It was a bizarre whole thing. To start off, it felt like it was in the middle of a game of FIFA with the high camera angle.
Yeah, the pitch did look. It did look not like a regular
camera
pitch.
angle was so high.
Yeah.
Which I actually a lot of people were moaning about it, but I like
weird.
that because you can see more of the tactical and the spatial areas in the game. I like that.
Yeah, I liked a broader angle. You're right. Yeah.
But
I can't say it played on my mind
the
particularly.
first half was such an awful watch because I think you spent the whole game thinking about the fact there was empty seats in the stadium, which I'm not criticising either sets of fans for. I mean, fucking hell, what a slog of a journey.
Yeah.
The how far the stands are from the pitch didn't help. So you had this stadium of like 68,000 people, and it is only about 6,000 fans have physically travelled out there. It felt like I was watching a game in like Asia or something at the start of pre-season.
Pre-season friendly. That's what a lot of people were saying. It had that friendly vibe.
The game had that vibe.
Hype.
There was no tackles or...
In the first half, for sure, it was really dull. I say dull. I didn't think it was the worst. I didn't think Arsenal were that bad in the first half.
Arsenal for the first 25 minutes were the better side.
Maitland-Niles got in behind a few times. I didn't think Kolasinac was getting forward enough, but they were kind of like jabbing at each other without really trying to go in for a killer blow, because obviously it is a final and there was a lot riding on it for Arsenal. But once Chelsea scored, that was same old Arsenal away from home.
Arsenal tried to change the game too quickly from there. For me,
Yeah.
it should have been, okay, stay in the game, don't go 2-0 and that.
No.
And straight away, almost from the kickoff, they started pushing men
Forward.
into further advanced positions and stuff. And both sides essentially was going to be which counter-attacks better. Because
Yeah.
obviously with Aubameyang and Lacazette up front at the other end. Chelsea got it spot on when they won the ball back in the second half. And obviously the one real world-class player on the pitch in Hazard.
With 2 goals, albeit 1 penalty and an assist, and happy days.
It would have been a nice FPL score.
I'll tell you. Kovacic, I thought the midfield, Kovacic, Jorginho and Kante is probably where Chelsea just had that little bit more class and intensity, get the ball back, keep it moving and set up attacks. And I mean, you said Arsenal were going to win. I said Arsenal were going to win.
Yeah, I really
Many
thought they
people
would.
I thought they had more riding on it, being that they needed Champions League
Yep.
football. And I thought the front two in Lacazette and Aubameyang were going to prove too much and were better than Chelsea's attacking options. We got taught a lesson there.
The words I'd been using in the weeks in the run up to it was intensity.
Mm-hmm.
But the game didn't have any, and I think actually the whole setting and the lack of fans in the ground helped Chelsea with the kind of more methodical, slow the game down approach.
Yeah.
If Arsenal had 20,000 fans behind them, backing them, roaring on tackles and stuff like that, I think the game might have been a bit different. In the end, that little bit of extra quality of people like the names you'd mentioned just showed.
Let me ask you a question. You're saying that extra quality on the pitch. I don't know. Do you think the game was won on the pitch, or do you think the game was won in their heads? Do you think Chelsea just had that little bit more swagger and confidence and tougher mentality and mindset to say, you know what, at half-time when it's 0-0, we're going to grab this grain by the scruff of the neck and take it.
I just think
Whereas Arsenal were too nervy. I really feel like it was more won in the head than it was on the pitch.
I think if Arsenal had scored first, they would have won. I think it was all on the first goal. If you'd said to me at half time, what do you think? I'd have kind of been half tempted to turn it off and turn it back on an hour later and just watch the penalties, because it was the only way I could see it going. Because the game was just looked like both teams were so conscious of what the other's capability on the counter was. And the first goal was kind of out of nothing and a bit of a shock when it's Giroud's one of the few players, I know he gets a lot of criticism, he's one of the few players who can score that type of goal.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant goal. And then from there, like I said, they're away with the counter-attacking talent of Hazard.
Yeah, well, Hazard is not a flat track bully per se, but when he's in the mood, he's up for it.
Of course, and he always is going to be in a game like that. He's off. It's pretty much confirmed now.
What I didn't like, did you watch the pre-game interviews and all the rest of that?
Pre-game?
Kind of stuff? Yeah.
No, just about managed to stay awake during the game.
Joe Cole interviewed Eden Hazard, and the whole vibe of that interview was really like, see you later. The way he ended the interview was like, thanks for everything you've done for the club. All the fans, and on behalf of all the players and everything, we really appreciate everything you've done for the club. It's like, he ain't fucking left yet. But just the way it was framed was as if he was saying thank you and goodbye.
Knew. It was Sarri said a couple of weeks ago, didn't he? Like, he made his mind up and stuff.
Yeah.
So
and credit to Hazard, like, he didn't fucking down tools. He was still going for it.
No. I think the only thing I'd say on Hazard, and obviously people are reflecting on his performances over the years now, and obviously saying what a great player he has been, and he has been. There's been times, particularly through the 2 title wins he's had with Chelsea, where at stages he's just been unstoppable. But I think he's one of them players that I'd look back on and I always think could have been more. Like, I think he should comfortably be the 3rd best player in the world.
Yeah.
He's not. He's never really pushed to... Listen, he might go to Real Madrid and push to those heights.
I was going to say, how much of that is the club and the players around him versus him himself?
I don't know.
I do think it's time for him to go.
He's such a good the game that nobody has ever frightened me on a football pitch more than him. I mean that honestly. We played them New Year's Day. People remember the Kane's 2 goals in his breakthrough season. We won 5-3. Eden Hazard was the best player on the pitch, and Chelsea were awful. Like, he single-handedly
he's done
kept
it
them
so
in the
many
game.
times for them.
Top talent, but I think there's times, if you think of the season where he went to about April and he hadn't scored on that, and they had people saying now that he'd been carrying an injury all season and that. But he essentially did down tools there. That's how it felt. Every time he got whacked, he was coming off early in games after 10, 15 minutes. Maybe he was carrying a knock. I just don't think
still very young.
He's capable at any time of winning a game of football on his own. And I just always look at him and think you can do more. And he should have, in my opinion, been propelling himself to the sort of goal and assist numbers that
Messi and Ronaldo are at.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if he does move to Madrid, which is on the cards, what does happen there. He is a big Zidane fan. That's what he was saying in his interview, that Zidane was his role model when he grew up, and so they'll be united as opposed to reunited. Let's see what happens with them. Where do Arsenal go now? I mean, where did Chelsea go as well? Because losing Hazard, he's worth, what, 10, 15 points a season?
You think they're really going to struggle next year, don't you?
Well, they can't buy any players, and they're losing Hazard, who's worth, what, 10, 15 points a season to them?
Well, yeah.
They weren't great up at the London Stadium when they came earlier in the season. They couldn't unlock our defence with Hazard on the pitch. Without him, they've got no hope. At Stamford Bridge, that second half, we played much, much better. If Hazard hadn't scored that wonder goal in the first half, so they'd had that little bit of a cushion, it would have been much more of a game. And there's many more examples of that. So I think take Hazard out of the equation, and Higuain's gone back, right? His loan's over.
I think they can buy him.
All right, okay. Well,
I think they can buy him. Yeah, I was
Transfer ban
asking
doesn't
this
count?
for our new Chelsea correspondent, Ted, at Rotation FPL, and he said they can buy him.
Okay, well,
I don't know if they will.
yeah, that's the thing.
But
I
if
mean,
it's
they can't buy anyone.
pre-agreed in the loan, it's all right.
So where they need improvement. They can't lose Hazard and crack on. Can
maybe
they?
now. I mean, what's really unfortunate is obviously the injuries to Callum Hudson-Odoi and Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who are both, they're not going to make the start next season. Who both, I think, opening day of next year would have been in the team, and you'd have seen a more adventurous Chelsea, shall we say, less possession based and a little bit more direct with a bit more pace and that. But there are other kids who we're forgetting about, people like Tammy Abraham, Mason Mount. Are they going to come back?
Ross Barkley maybe can step up.
We've been waiting a long time for that. But these young kids, like Mount is a good player, and they've got like 40 players out on loan. So there's a lot of them that could come back and will get a shot now, and they wouldn't have before. Maybe this could finally be the change that everybody's been moaning about with Chelsea for years, to say, okay, stick these kids in. Because Willian, Pedro and that, obviously very good players, but they're not going to progress any better than what they are now with the age and that.
You could see that sort of kind of class of 99 at Manchester United vibe coming through at Chelsea with a group of players that have been through the youth system together.
They've got some astonishing
breaking
talents
into the team.
And they have done. You have to look at the list of players they've let go when they've been young. Even ones they brought in abroad, like who haven't given a chance. De Bruyne and Salah, to name two, right? I mean, they could have had some team there if they kept everyone together.
I mean, the other things that Chelsea have to consider now is, I think if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be happy with the season. Finishing third, final of the League Cup and winning the Europa League. That's a decent season.
Of course it is.
Now, if Allegri's out at Juve and Sarri goes there, which is a rumour, they need a manager as well.
Allegri.
Straight swap?
Possible, yeah, why not? I don't know. I think that the Chelsea fans are very split on what they want with Sarri. I think most have been frustrated with the football this year, and they've particularly struggled. If they haven't scored first in games, they've had real problems because teams know just to sit in, because Chelsea aren't going to change their style.
Yeah.
But I think obviously you're quite right to look back on the season. You go, that's successful.
That's a really good season.
I think if you'd have said to Chelsea fans start the season, European Trophy, domestic cup final as well, they were unlucky in that against City.
Yeah.
And third in the league, they'd have taken that on the first season. And yet most, I think, would want him to go.
Who, Sarri?
That's the vibe I get, yeah.
Ooh, I don't know. Yeah, more because of the off-field stuff than the on-field stuff. It's just that vibe.
This wouldn't be the first time
stuff
that it felt like Chelsea have been successful in spite of a manager.
Yeah, quite possibly.
I'm thinking, what happened to Di Matteo after the Champions League final? And I think earlier, Avram Grant, that Chelsea team in 2008 that got to the Champions League final and finished second to United was a brilliant team. If they'd have had a proper manager, I think they'd have won the Champions League and the Premier League.
Yeah. I think there's a lot to look at Chelsea next season. Alonso has definitely got, I don't know, has he definitely lost his place? I feel like he's lost his place.
Emerson's first choice now, isn't he?
Exactly. So is Alonso suddenly going to become like a £5.5 million defender rather than 7 or 8? But you're not going to pick him because he's never going to play.
Got another brilliant kid, left back, Jada Silva.
Yeah.
Who's, I think he's in the England under 21 squad, so left back. He might get a look as well.
And these youngsters at Chelsea will come in cheap. So if they click, it's one of those that definitely got to keep an eye on, because you can't see them coming in at top 6 player prices of 7, 8, 9, 10 millions. They're going to be 4, 5, 6 million pound players.
It's probably more a point, obviously, when, say, Hudson-Odoi and Loftus-Cheek, who finished the season really well, when they get fit, their ownership next season for FPL is going to be 0, right?
Yeah.
As and when they do get fit. So your time in there, it's irrespective of price, could be very good.
Arsenal. Sack all the players, sack the board, sack the manager. Okay, the manager is the only one that hasn't been getting grief. He's been getting
I think he is, mate. I think he is.
But not out grief. It's like, look, you better fix up for what happened in the last 6, 7 games of the season, and this cup final has shown that there's work to be done. But most people are like, still give him another season. He's only had a season. But the players are getting some grief.
Rightly so.
Obviously, we had a little bit of Arsenal fan TV to warm us up, but it always does get you that vibe. You can feel the anger.
They were just flat, weren't they?
This was disappointment, sadness, and pain, not anger. And you almost feel for him. Our Arsenal correspondent Adam35 Who on Twitter is a lovely, lovely guy, and you wouldn't wish ill on anyone, including him especially, and you can feel his pain.
I did feel bad for Adam. I mean, fuck them lot on Arsenal fan TV and that, but I did.
I don't lose his sleep over it.
Adam sent some tweets out last night, which I think if they'd have been sent by a Spurs fan, I probably would have gone to bed crying last night. But blessed, I can't wait to get Adam on the pod, because that'll be a fascinating to because Adam's level-headed. He's not like most Skiners, to see where he's at. In terms of his thoughts on Emery particularly, I think the squad needs a massive overhaul. They're not good enough.
They haven't got Kroenke's not going to spend the money.
They've got 2 brilliant centre forwards.
Yeah.
Who last night, for whatever reason, it just didn't happen. They didn't really perform. I
didn't think Ozil was up to much at all yesterday.
They've got a player there in. I mean, Ozil's a disgrace. let's be honest about it. The fact he walks off the pitch sulking at 4-1. We know we all think the game was dead, but fuck off the pitch, mate, quickly, so the substitute can come on. Things like that. With Ozil, he just doesn't help himself.
No.
You know, I'm sure after the game, he got on the flight and played a bit of Fortnite, and everything was hunky-dory again. That's how it feels with Ozil, in my opinion. 350 grand a week. All right, maybe it's wrong to keep bringing up the number, but 350 grand a week. Get fucking shot, mate. I'd let him go.
It's not the money that he's taking.
I'd let him go on a free transfer.
I'd let him
go on a free transfer. Fuck the money. Get him out and rebuild the team. There are so many players there who, frankly, aren't good enough. And have not been helped by things like Bellerin's injury. And I think that sort of thing would have made... I think that really impacted Arsenal the last few months. Because Maitland-Niles... He's a good young talent. He's a midfield player. And he got exposed a little bit in the second half last night. But he was one of their best players in the first 20 minutes, I thought.
Getting in behind, getting crosses in.
He's a good player, but Torreira's disappeared the last few months. I don't know what's happened. Well, at Christmas time, we were all going, Jesus, how good is this fella? He's disappeared. Xhaka was probably one of Arsenal's better players last night. I think that says a lot.
Still not good enough.
And they probably missed Mustafi.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I think they might have, mate.
Well, who would he have played instead of Monreal? Or,
if you're going to play a back three, play 3 centre halves.
Yeah. Because Koscielny, obviously, is not going to get dropped.
Monreal's been very good for Arsenal, but it's another one. It's aging. Like move on. But what Arsenal need to do, if the rumours are true that they've only got 40-odd million to spend, then, I mean, what does that get you now? I saw someone tweet.
Carroll.
Well, I saw someone tweet last night that was the agent fee on Pogba's move to Man United. Apparently,
not 40 million.
That's what I saw someone tweet.
The transfer fee was 90. He's not going to take 50% of. It's normally 10%.
Who knows where a lot of money goes in football these days?
That's true.
I wouldn't be overly surprised.
It doesn't drip down to FPL podcast. I can tell you that.
All right. What Arsenal need to do is a little bit like the route that I think Spurs took 15 years ago. Is go and identify these good young English players.
Ask me to name 2 or 3 decent young talents at Spurs, I could. Ask me to name 2 or 3 young players at West Ham, I could. Ask me to name 2 or 3 young players come through Arsenal. I don't see any.
Yeah, but they're going to have to give them a chance to people like, I mean...
But who? Like, I don't even know
got,
any of their young talent.
Eddie Nketiah up front.
Okay.
Who... The problem with him is position-wise, you've got Aubameyang and Lacazette standing away, right?
Yeah.
Willock could come on as a good talent.
Willock's
obviously, Maitland-Niles. One boy you will... I'm sure you'll see next year is a boy who's been on loan at Hoffenheim, Reece Nelson. He's a wide player.
I do know Reece Nelson.
He really is a good young talent. Whether Mavropanos, who's played the odd game at centre half, can step up. I think it's quite young.
And I suppose Guendouzi's 19, coming on 20. He's young. Torreira is young. They do have young players in and around. So maybe I'm being a bit harsh in that, but I don't feel like they're getting as much face time as like Ollie Skip and all these kind of guys.
The problem for Arsenal
Spurs,
would be, say, like when Spurs started targeting, let's be honest, West Ham, Carrick, Defoe's, those kind of players 15 years ago. You're not going to get these kind of players at the value you were going to get then.
No.
So I'd seen a story this morning, just before we were about to go on, that Atletico Madrid have apparently bid for Ben Chilwell.
Okay.
Do you know the fee that's been mentioned this morning?
How old's Ben Chilwell? Is that 23, 24?
He's young.
Young. For a left back in the England squad, and he's very good. 60?
The fee that's mentioned this morning is 71 million.
I wasn't too far off, but it's still a fuck ton of money. 71 million pounds.
If I'll be honest, in my opinion, if Atletico Madrid have offered 71 million for Ben Chilwell, they should let Ben Chilwell go. I mean, that's astronomical. But that's the point. We're talking about Arsenal having that kind of budget.
Times 5, because you need 5 or 6 players.
Well, yeah, and half that budget isn't even getting you a good left back.
Yeah.
So they've got to identify the players at the lower levels. It's probably going to mean a lot of scouting into sort of Central Europe and Eastern Europe and further, and getting these kids in young. Like they've unearthed Guendouzi, who is another one who's been pillared, but he's really young.
Yeah, very young. But
they got him in for a packet of crisps, basically. It looks like that's what they're going to have to do. I think if Arsenal, if that's all they spend in the summer, and a lot of those shit players are still there, and they start badly, I think that's going to turn very nasty over there. And I think it's got to be directed towards the board. And I think Arsenal...
Yeah, Kroenke, the owner.
It's Arsenal going to need to suffer.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're out of the Champions League now next season again. So another season in the Europa League means that it's less attractive to pick up players. It's a tough times for them.
It's still an attractive club to go and play for.
Yes.
In the same way like United is, right?
Yeah.
But I think the problem is, for Arsenal, they're not going to... It sounds like they're not going to... They're basically going into Tottenham's level in terms of wages and what they're going to be able to afford. Mm-hmm. I don't need to say, if you've got a choice of which one you're going to at the moment, which one you're going to.
I very boldly said yesterday I thought Chelsea would struggle. After last night's performance, I also think Arsenal are going to struggle. I just don't think it's going to be top 6 as clean and tidy as it was this season. Having said that, the gap between 6th and 7th was sizable. It wasn't like 2 points. It was double-figured points.
It's still going to be a massive effort for a Wolves, Leicester, Everton, West Ham, Newcastle if the money comes in.
Yeah.
I think we need to be careful talking about Newcastle this month, because it feels like any day some news might drop and we'll be dated.
Yeah.
But that's not going to happen overnight with Newcastle anyway.
No,
right?
no.
Listen, the rules of the game have changed a bit. They're not, if this sheikh comes into Newcastle, they're not going to be blowing 400 million this summer.
No,
that's not happening. It's going to be need to be a lot more progressive. City didn't happen overnight, right? It was like 4 or 5 years before they won the league.
Yeah.
You can't just go and do like when Abramovich walked in at Chelsea anymore and just go bosh.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's great for Newcastle. Like, I think they've really suffered as a fan base. I can't think of any club would be more suitable to give them a fucking crackpot of money and say, go on, have a go. It sounds like a laugh, right?
Yeah. Newcastle's on my list of away games I want to go to next season. West Ham selling an away season ticket for the year. I need to check. I can't remember how much it is, but away fan tickets are capped, right? 30 quid or something. So 18 away games, that's going to be maybe 400 quid. 19
away games.
That's right, yeah, doing the maths, right?
Yeah. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's 570 quid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is
You need
the
a bit.
Spurs sell one?
No, not anymore.
Would that make my away season ticket more fucking
Not
expensive
anymore.
than my home
Spurs
season
used to do away season tickets, but don't anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not the price of the ticket that costs; it's the fucking travelling.
and everything.
It's the awkward ones like Huddersfield and that.
But the thing
you've
is,
got to transfer.
I might
they
even.
cost a bit, man.
But if I was going to buy one, I'd buy one knowing that I'd probably get to half to 3/4 of them, rather than every single one week in week out.
You never go away. What's suddenly bringing this on?
But it's more fun.
I reckon you'd go.
Away is way more fun.
I listen. Going away from home is fantastic. Atmosphere is always better.
Yeah,
I've
been away to United, and I've been away to Wigan. I've been away to Watford. I've been to 3 away games.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, mate.
Yeah.
It's only one Premier League ground next season I haven't been to. Do you know what it is?
Next season.
Of the Premier League stadiums? High on my bucket list. I'm kind of hoping it's the away game opening day of the season.
I'd guess Sheffield United.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Villa have been in the Premier League long enough that you'd have been there, and Norwich
times,
as well.
Yeah.
But Sheffield United had a bit of a gap, so there you go.
Yeah, that's number one for the bucket list next year. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah. See, you've got the points to get away tickets easy enough. I don't. So the only way I can get away.
It's been built up through going to games, mate.
Yeah, of course. So it's kind of like it's hard to start building them up if you can't even get one away ticket.
But I can't get into every. Like, I mean, listen, I've been so blessed. I had enough loyalty points to get into Ajax, for example.
Yeah.
The only game at the moment I can't get into is Bournemouth. I would have been just short.
About 10
I applied
people.
for Bournemouth. I couldn't get into Bournemouth. You only get like 1,100 tickets, don't you?
Yeah.
So Bournemouth is a problem. All the league games I should be able to get into, but it's getting worse at Spurs now because there's premium season ticket holders and they get
Priority and shit.
It's not a priority. They get a larger slice of the away tickets now and stuff. So it's getting harder.
It is difficult. That's why. I mean, it's money talks.
You got to keep going, or you'll soon. I know of people who have had season tickets at Spurs for like 20 years who can't get a Champions League final ticket.
Yeah.
Because they've never built up any loyalty points through going to away games.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? There are a lot of people who not a lot. There's people out there who buy away tickets and not use them just for the points.
It's unfortunate that someone should have a season ticket and go that long and not be able to go. But then the flip side of it is also going, oh, Champions League final. Now you want to go.
Yeah.
Where were you on the Tuesday night in Burnley and stuff like that?
My cousin, who's a Spurs fan, like season ticket holder like you, he's got tickets. He hasn't got them officially through the club. He's had to fork out a few quid. But he was telling me about his mate, who's a Liverpool fan, London based, obviously, who's going to Madrid to watch the Champions League final. Has never been to Anfield.
Oh, makes me sick.
That happens a lot, right? Happens a lot.
There's don't get me started on ticket allocations with UEFA, man. That was a joke last night, but it kind of worked out for UEFA with the allocations because no one could fucking get there.
Yeah.
But even now, I mean, half the ground in Madrid is not going to be fans. It does make me sick.
Cool. Well, let's talk about a few of our new correspondents and then we can wrap up episode 1 where we've given everyone that little dose of your voice and mine, bit of chat about Europe and what's been popping. So, Villa have been confirmed now since we've last recorded as the playoff winners. Fair play, Derby did put up a bit of a fight, but class told in the end. And it's going to be really interesting to...
I don't know, Villa scored 2 shit goals, man.
No, but I think Villa were the better side overall. Yeah, Jack Grealish, definitely. I think he was the man of the match in my eyes. And the thing with Derby is that they would have got promoted had they won, and all of their loan players would have disappeared, and they'd have had no squad left. So I don't know if they'll built.
Villa have got quite a few on loan as well.
They do, but I think Villa's a bigger club, and the attraction of having the likes of John Terry, and I don't know if Ashley Cole's going to last out another season, but
I'm pleased that Villa are back. It's a
I
Premier
just
League
think
sized club.
Too much claret and blue in the league already, but apart from that, let's have a bit of Villa. But having Villa means we need a Villa correspondent.
I didn't have to work hard. I got a DM after Villa beat West Brom from Adam Hopcroft saying, I want to do it.
Yeah.
I basically messaged him back and went, how much have you had to drink? I thought he'd been out on the sauce. Because people don't know Adam. He's got more followers than us. He comes up with some brilliant statistical stuff on Twitter.
Got more sense than us.
He's been a guest on
higher overall rank.
He's been a guest on quite a few other FPL. But I think he's been on Who Got the Assist and the Surgery, I think.
Yeah.
He's a brilliant lad. He's a local lad. And yeah, obviously he messaged me again after final. He said, yeah, I still want to do it. So I never put it out to no one. It's very uncommon for us because generally we've always gone with correspondents who have really low follower counts.
Correct.
To give them an opportunity.
Yeah.
But I think for Adam to come and approach me and say, I want to do this when he doesn't need to.
Yeah.
In terms of his status in the community and that, I did think, oh, fucking hell, we've got to do this, haven't we?
Yeah,
and I think it speaks a lot for what the other correspondents have done already and so far that Adam would want to do it.
Of course.
I never went to Adam and went, oh, if you go up. We never had the conversation. He messaged me and went, I want to do it.
And that just shows the character of a person that wants to give back to the community. Do you know what I mean? It's like Club Villa have been out for 2 seasons from the Premier League, but the side that they have now is unrecognisable, maybe bar Grealish from the side that went down. So people that don't keep in touch with the Championship much, like I don't really keep in touch with it much, could do with that advice. So yeah, and also from an FPL player who's got some real chops.
He's a great FPL player.
So really looking forward to that, which means our roster of correspondents is full. I don't know if you've created a new Twitter list for 2019 correspondents.
If you look through my timeline yesterday,
yes,
there was a thread of who all the correspondents
Perfect. So you'll be able to follow them all much the same way that we did last season with blog articles and more audio contribution this season as well, starting with our 30 and 30, where each of them, all 22, 23 people that we've had contribute to the show in written format, we're gonna hear their voices, which is actually quite weird for us because quite often we haven't spoken to some of these people before. And then they speak. And
it's a different dynamic, but it's really nice.
It's the same shit that happens with us, where people are like, they've been here listening to our voices, and then we jumped on YouTube, and they're like, "You don't look like you sound." Yeah,
I think that was the highlight of the live show for me as well. Was
massively.
meeting a few of the lads who come down for it.
Yeah.
I think it's really good to have them a part of this for this month.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else happening?
Champions League final.
Brighton got a new manager. I still think they're going to get relegated next season.
So
Champions League final. Keep in touch with James on Twitter at Planet FPL Pod.
By the time most of you listen to this, I'm probably flying to Madrid. I don't know what's happening, but
T-shirt, shorts, and a scarf.
Listen, I take my scarf to every European game, so the scarf is coming. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yep. Cool. That's it for episode 1 of 30 and 30. We've taken up enough of people's time, and you need to go and watch this Champions League final. Good luck to Spurs. Good luck to Liverpool. A little bit more than good luck to Spurs. And I hope they beat you, but maybe a nice tidy 1-0. And you enjoy a bit of tapas while you're out there.
Nerves have begun to kick in now. I've been quite calm in the run-up, but now I'm starting to... If I overthink it, and I think you can overthink these games, I'm starting to feel it now.
Cool. Tune in tomorrow for episode 2 of our 30 and 30, which is with none other than Paul, Sky Player and FPL on Twitter, who finished 48th
in the world
last season. A fantastic rank. It's a real different approach to FPL, looking at kind of the Sky game, the differences that there are in the Sky game and the official FPL game, and how he brought them into use. There were a number of times in that show where I was like, oh, maybe I'll do that next season. Maybe I'll do that next season. So it's definitely worth a listen. Won't give too much away, but you got to listen in tomorrow.
Cool.
Other than that, anything else to add?
Nah. Can't use Spurs. Cue music, man, child.
Ciao for now.